Welcome to the second part of The Lighthouse at World's End. If you didn't watch the previous part, please do so before moving on. Now let's get started. The captain sighed, his gaze turning to the sputtering flame in the center of the room. "The light is failing," he said. "The darkness is rising, and with it, the lost souls will be consumed. I have come to offer you a choice, Callum." "A choice?" Callum echoed, his heart pounding in his chest. The captain nodded. "You can choose to let the light go out, and the world as you know it will be consumed by the darkness. Or you can make a sacrifice that will restore the light and keep the darkness at bay." Callum felt a chill run down his spine. What kind of sacrifice? The captain's eyes met Callum's, and in that moment Callum understood. The sacrifice was not of the physical kind, but of something far more precious. It was a sacrifice of memory, of identity, of self. To save the light, Callum would have to give up everything that made him who he was, becoming one with the lighthouse, an eternal guardian like the captain before him. Callum looked at the flickering flame, at the water rising around him, and at the captain's ancient, weary eyes. He knew that the choice was not really a choice at all. The light had to be saved, for without it, the world would fall into darkness, and the souls he had vowed to protect would be lost forever. With a heavy heart, Callum nodded. "I will do it," he said, his voice steady, despite the fear that gripped him. The captain placed a hand on Callum's shoulder, a gesture of comfort and solidarity. "You are a brave soul, Callum," he said. "Your sacrifice will not be forgotten." And with that, the captain raised his other hand, and a blinding light filled the chamber. Callum felt a warmth wash over him, and for a brief moment he was filled with a sense of peace, as if all the worries of the world had been lifted from his shoulders. Then the light consumed him, and Callum felt himself being pulled into the very heart of the lighthouse, his body dissolving into the golden flame that powered the beacon. His memories, his thoughts, his very essence, all became one with the light, fueling it with a power that transcended time and space. The lighthouse at World's End shone brighter than ever before, its beam cutting through the storm and the darkness, guiding the lost souls back to the world of the living. The storm subsided, the sea calmed, and the whispers of the lost faded into the night, their voices filled with hope once more. And at the top of the lighthouse, where the great lens resided, a figure stood, its eyes glowing like twin stars in the void. The new keeper of the light, bound to the lighthouse for eternity, watching over the world from the edge of the sea, where the stars met the waves. Part 2. The First Signs of Trouble. Years passed since the fateful night when Callum became one with the light. The lighthouse at World's End stood tall and unwavering, its beam piercing the darkness like a sword of hope. For those who lived on the mainland, the lighthouse was a legend, a story told by sailors who claimed to have seen its light from beyond the horizon. Yet, few truly believed in its existence, and even fewer dared to journey to the edge of the world to see it for themselves. The village nearest to the lighthouse was a small, windswept place where life moved at the pace of the tides. The people there were hardy folk, accustomed to the harsh realities of life by the sea. They lived in simple cottages made of stone, their roofs thatched with reeds from the nearby marshes. The village was isolated, surrounded by rocky cliffs on one side and the endless ocean on the other. It was a place where the land met the sea, and where the boundary between the two was as blurred as the line between day and night. The villagers were aware of the lighthouse, though few had ever laid eyes on it. It was a distant, mysterious presence, a beacon that guided ships safely past the treacherous rocks that lined the coast. They knew that the lighthouse had a keeper, a man named Callum, but to them he was as much a myth as the lighthouse itself. Some said that he was a spirit, bound to the lighthouse for eternity, while others believed he was a man who had made a pact with the sea and the stars. Whatever the truth, the villagers left the lighthouse and its keeper alone, content to live their lives in the shadow of its light. But there were some who could not resist the lure of the unknown. Among them was a young man named Finn, who had grown up in the village listening to the tales of the lighthouse at World's End. Finn was a dreamer, always gazing out at the horizon with a longing in his heart that he couldn't quite explain. He was fascinated by the sea, by its endless mysteries and the stories it held. While other boys in the village were content to fish and tend to their families' boats, Finn was always looking for something more.